Just picking up from what you're talking about in regards to the Muslim Brotherhood, there is concern not just among the Israelis but also among the Americans about what it would mean to have a government in power with significant representation from the Muslim Brotherhood, isn't there?
That's right. They're very concerned about it, and they're concerned because they've allowed themselves to be scared by a set of ideas about what that might mean without really having any sense of who they are talking about when they talk about the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood is much closer to something like the AKP in Turkey than it is to anything like Al-Qaeda. Now, one may very well disagree with the kind of very conservative, religious, moralistic kind of program that the Muslim Brothers have for Egyptian society, but fundamentally, they have a program for their own society. They will have to work with other people who don't agree with them on that, and certainly there's no possibility here of this uprising turning into some kind of mass movement that can simply be capitalized on by one single ideological strand within Egyptian society. This is a movement of the whole of Egyptian society. A lot of those people down in Tahrir Square are secular, young, professional people. They don't necessarily support the Brotherhood. They may have a certain degree of respect for the Brotherhood, but we oughtn't to allow ourselves, I think, in the West to become so scared of this idea of radical Islamist politics that we enable it to actually grow disproportionately strong. The best way to strengthen the radical side of the Muslim Brotherhood and the people more radical than them is to try to keep them out of politics, to try to insist there is no way of working with them. All that does is strengthen the hand of those people within those movements who say that democracy can never work, that the West never keeps its promises, and that the only way to achieve the kind of change they want to see in their society is to do it by violence.
James, but one thing that people on the ground have noted is that when these protests first began 11 days ago, they were very much dominated by secular Egyptians. Now, not surprisingly, given it's Friday midday prayers, there's a much more religious theme running through these protests. There is a sense, is there not, that the Muslim Brotherhood and other Islamist organisations are now taking a much more active role in this protest movement than they were at the beginning of this situation?
I'm not sure that's true. I mean, it may be that they're more visible than they were, but that's only because they were running to catch up at the very beginning. I mean, this is a movement that was absolutely launched by people who, by a wide cross-section of Egyptian society, that was not at all led in any sense by the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood eventually came out last Friday in support, and that undoubtedly made a difference. But people looking at the TV screens now may be seeing lots of people praying in Tahrir Square. That doesn't mean that these are all radical Islamist Egyptians. Lots of Egyptians pray on Friday, whether they're Islamists or not. Perfectly secular people also, fulfill their religious obligations as part of the Muslim community. So that doesn't necessarily mean that this is turning into a religious movement. The fact that there are sermons being broadcast is also something that happens on state TV. That doesn't make Egypt